We are, and we are live. It's my favorite teacher. How you doing? I got something to send you. I've been meaning to send it to you, but I wanted to make sure it was right before I sent it to you. So shout out, shout out, shout out. How we doing, people? Good evening, good evening, good evening. I feel kind of like a Baptist preacher today. I don't know what it is, but this is some craziness. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna break into this routine. How's everybody doing? I see we got some new folks in the house. That really does my heart good. Um, just in case y'all don't know, I ain't like Bernie Mac, but I cuss a little bit every now and then. I promise I'm gonna try to behave tonight, though. Um, yeah, yeah. More radio, oh wow, oh wow, oh. More radio, oh wow, oh yeah. So let me know if y'all can hear me. Every now and then Facebook acts up. So sound check, sound check. And what's up, Panky Pank? Okay. Facebook always have this 5-second delay. I guess they're afraid I'm gonna say something, like I cuss or something. Anyway, how y'all doing, people? How you doing? How you doing? I'm a, um I'm gonna let y'all just okay. Ah, Mama say, Mama Sa, Mama Musa. What's up, people? Let's go ahead and get this party started. Let me rock. Let me rock. So, before I go any further, let me say good evening and thank you for spending your Thursday nights with me. As always, I am truly humbled. My name is Hank Batiste, alias the Renaissance Man, aka also known as Rennie for short. Um, Most of you know that I'm a former Marine. Knowing that, you probably can understand why I'm pissed beyond pissosity. I'm pissed beyond measure. This week, my Creole power was either on the blank or the meds that the VA has been prescribing to me has dulled my superpowers. I was gearing up, people. I was gearing up for a March the 4th showdown, a fight to commemorate the original day of the passing of the torch from the outgoing president to the president elect. This is what the Trumpsters, the Trumpettes, the Trumpies, and all have been talking about since January the 3rd. I mean, the 3rd, the 5th, the 6th, but certainly when they crashed the party on Capitol Hill. Somehow, I was expecting a call from 1st Battalion 4th Marine Weapons Platoon saying, grab your gear, all hands on deck. Maybe, okay. Maybe I exaggerate a little bit. Maybe I wasn't really expecting the company first sergeant to call, but I thought being recalled to active duty at age 81 was more likely than seeing Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the entire domestic intelligence community blink and take a knee to an unknown militia. Tonight, we're going to talk about the epitome of white privilege in the relationship, call it double standards, to policing. We're also going to talk about the despicable Donnie wannabes and behaving badly, screaming to the top of their lungs. I told you I'm trying not to cuss tonight. So they're screaming to the top of their lungs. I didn't say screaming their A's off. And then doubling down. Or they'll say or do something to try to change the narrative when they are exposed for being ineffective leaders or putting their political ambitions before the good of the people. Then I'm going to tell you about this company that I've been telling you about and telling you about. I'm just about ready to launch. I'm not there just yet. I want to tweak my website before I launch it, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. The web the website, the company is called ABA-Pii, a Black Agenda and Policy Initiatives Incorporated. Let me say that again. ABA-Pii, a Black Agenda and Policy Initiatives Incorporated. So tonight's show is called Congress Capitulates or Takes a Knee, Behaving Badly in Our Pie, as American as apple pie in a new day. I got something to say. It must be true. Let's do this. Bad leadership and changing the narratives. I'm tired of seeing this. First of all, first things first, first things first. When we talk about bad leadership and recent disasters, two names come to mind, and they're both from Texas. I call him Toxic Teddy Cruz and Governor Greg Abbott. The nickname that I gave them was Abbott and Cruz, starring in Who's On First. Unfortunately, their act is neither funny nor is it as clever as the original Abbott and Costello comedy routine, mainly because their comedy of errors involve bad, ineffective leadership, bad judgment, bad decisions, and it cost Texans their lives and huge, huge amounts of property damage and losses, not to mention the unknown health risks that are going to manifest as a result of people having to drink melted snow and water from who knows where. When I think of the young couple trying to collect snow in a frozen house and melt the snow so that they could have drinking water, when I think of a former classmate comparing the freeze in Houston to Hurricane Katrina, when I think of the countless people who literally froze to death, lost their lives, I'm reminded of the disparity between politics and public service. When I saw Toxic Teddy Cruz passing out water for photo ops, people, not because he cared, because his dumb behind, see, I didn't cuss, went down to Cancun, got busted, and then figured he had to come back and do some damage control. So he probably took water from his water supply and went out and he brought a cameraman with him and he started passing out this water. When I looked up the word disingenuous in the dictionary, they had a picture of Toxic Teddy Cruz. I was pissed. When I heard him screaming about 3 million kids missing from school since last March, I laughed. Will somebody please tell Teddy Cruz that he can't blame this on Biden? Biden's only been in office for 7 weeks. And in that last 7 weeks, he's done more for the people than despicable, delusional Donnie has done for his cronies in 4 years. Then, after Greg Abbott, Governor Abbott, told Texans that they had to stop depending on the government, when he tried to blame the ineffective infrastructure and power grids on Joe Biden's energy proposals, I laughed. I was mad, but I laughed. I was reminded of their Fuhrer, their fearless leader, Despicable Donnie. Then when I heard Greg Abbott doubled down by talking about with the Mississippi governor about rescinding the mandatory mask. I was outraged, people. I was outraged. We're just starting to get COVID to a point where it's manageable. And what they're doing is just looking for something to change the narrative so that their bad behaviors and ineffective leadership is no longer front page news. So, to sum up, Abbott and Cruz, who's on first? I would just tell them, I don't know who's on, I don't know is on third. Moving on. Something else that's gotten to my craw, and I spoke out about it a couple of days ago, is this disparity in investigating sexual misconduct. So everybody knows what I'm talking about. First of all, let me just say this. I think the most heinous act next to harming a child is sexually intimidating or raping a woman. Everyone knows I got no love for Andrew Cuomo. But if you're going to investigate him, let's make sure that we investigate Despicable Donnie with the same dogged, zealous energy. I skewed Andrew last spring when he tried to covertly audition for president of the United States under the guise of updating us early on in the pandemic. I jumped all over it. I called him for what he was. I called him for a demagogue. I called him for a charlatan. So I don't mind you going after him, but I'm sure the attorney general in New York can investigate and aim to prosecute two people doing the same thing. If one is malfeasing in office, misusing campaign funds, I promise you the other one has done it tenfold. And I need not use names. Even more than the attorney general in the state of New York, I'm incensed by the Dems. I use the analogy of it being they being a cat chasing a laser light. You're never going to catch it. They lose focus so bad. They're so quick to be righteous with the condemnation of their own, and they lose focus when it comes to pursuing their QOP, their Trump OP, their GOP rivals, especially when it comes to Despicable Donnie. Let me give you this disclaimer. I've never forced myself on a woman before. Never had to. Women are attracted to men who are confident. They're attracted to men who are in power, so forth and so on. But not every woman is going to like you. I've heard countless men and women of every sexual persuasion trying to flirt with the corniest, inappropriate pickup lines imaginable. Sometimes it's politically incorrect. I don't know if it's always misconduct. But if a woman says that you touched her and she said stop and you continue, your ass need to be see, you need to be prosecuted. I have 3 daughters and I've heard stories of inappropriate language. I know it happens, especially in the workplace. It happens. If you know me on Facebook, I probably flirted or I probably said some inappropriate things in jest, but you're not my subordinate. I can't use my power to either promote, demote, or end your career. And men in power have to understand. Let me take that back. They're not that stupid. They know, especially when they say to people that if you say anything, I'm going to end you. So I think both. Truth be told, I think both Donnie and Andrew are cut from the same privilege cloth. I think they both think that it's okay to say or do whatever. I think both men got away with this type of behavior early on in life and once upon a time. But it's a new day, folks. You need to stop it. Most importantly, I'd like to see Harvey Weinstein in jail, just like Bill Cosby. And I'd like to see Despicable Donnie vigorously investigated, prosecuted, incarcerated, just like any other habitual felon who feels like he's above the law. Period. Moving on. This is the hardest part. Congress capitulates and takes a knee. Imagine when my surprise when I'm in the gym trying to do some cardio in the afternoon, and I see Wolf Blitzer actually has some breaking news for a change. And I tune in and I'm disgusted because I hear that Congress is shutting down. What? So then I left and I tuned in on my phone. I left the gym, went outside, and I tuned in to MSNBC, and they're breaking the same story. So I know it's not just hogwash. Imagine my anger when I heard the same congressmen and congresswomen who do not hesitate to send me and other servicemen and women into combat. But they capitulated to unknown militia. Then I saw expert after expert after expert after expert get up on CNN and MSNBC, and I wouldn't even turn to Fox because I was too afraid I'd blow my top, and explain how credible these threats are. Now, mind you, we've been hearing about these threats since the failed coup attempt on January the 6th. Mind you, it's been nearly 2 months since the failed coup attempt, and you have no idea who these people are? Are you kidding me? No. I said I wasn't going to cuss tonight, but I need a mulligan for this one. The fuck out of here with that. How could it be in this country with the sophisticated intelligence network that we have? You've been calling them by names, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, Q, and you have no idea who these people are. Mind you, we found HVTs, high value targets, in places that I can't remember and some I can't even pronounce. We found Osama bin Laden hiding in a cave, almost 10 feet underground, in the rocky terrain, and whatchamacallistan. And you mean to tell me you can't identify, you can't find these people? Mind you, J. Edgar Hoover infiltrated the mafia, the Black Panthers, the Black Muslims, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and with none of the technology that we have today. So I find it hard to believe that in the last 7 to 8 weeks, you cannot identify, eradicate, and eliminate Bubba and Clem in Kentucky and Alabama. I find it ludicrous that Mount Olympus is crawling with spies and co-conspirators. Congress, imagine. Homeland Security, imagine. FBI, imagine how we look to Russia. Imagine how weak we look to North Korea and Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan and everybody else. When we go to the G4, 6, 7, 8 summit, how can we expect Joe Biden to look people in the face and talk about spreading democracy and safety when we can't secure our own capital? Please, please, please explain to me, why do we still, 8 weeks later, have nearly 5,000 National Guardsmen still patrolling the U.S. Capitol at a bill of $2 million a day? Will somebody please explain to me why it's so easy for Congress to write this blank check at $2 million a day, but find it so hard to send me a goddamn stimulus check for $1,400? So you talk about $1.9 trillion on a stimulus package. Let's do 60 days times $2 million. And the beat goes on. Moving on, people. Moving on. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get you out of here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my organization. After talking about all that has happened, I've been saying that part of the problem is too many Americans, especially those in a certain socioeconomic status, only get engaged and excited about politics when we're talking about a presidential election. And that's only on the national level. So things go unchecked on a municipal or city level, on the state level. And then all of those people that's elected on the federal level to Congress, all of those people that slip through the cracks and are appointed or run for judges and these judgeships and so forth and so on. So I've been saying all along, you and I, people of color, Black folks especially, because we're never going to get 40 acres and a mule, because we're too quick to forget. But let me not digress. All of this has motivated me to start this organization. So I formed a nonprofit. And some of you people out there, I'm going to be enlisting your talents. I'm going to be enlisting your energies. And truth be told, I'm going to be asking some of you to put your money where your mouth is. We need to stay engaged 24/7, 365 days a year. And how we do this is with organizations like I just started. I named my organization ABA-Pii, a Black Agenda and Policy Initiatives. Policy, having this past week we had a CPAC, a political action committee here in Florida, supposedly the conservatives. You spell conservative TRUMP, QOP, GOP, TOP. They come together, they pool their resources to bring about change in their communities and things that are important to them. It's about time that we do the same thing. So I'm not going to get in depth about exactly what the company is going to be doing because some of the things I'm still nailing down until I finish filing my articles of incorporation, until I finish with my website. And I'm going to my website, I invite you to check it out. It's ABA hyphen PII.com. ABA hyphen PII.com. Check it out. It's still under construction, so it's not where I want it to be yet. We got some tweaking to do. But we're almost there, people. And I hate to be one of those people who's always talking about what's wrong and never talking about how to change things or come up with any solutions. So that's where I am now, folks. I'm going to be, my vision is to connect and collaborate with other grassroots organizations to bring about change. And it sounds corny. It sounds like some of the same soup. The difference is I'm taken care of. I'm blessed. So look for it. Look at the website and stay tuned because ABA-Pii is as American as apple pie. Your native son is going to make sure that each and every one is taken care of because we need to make sure that us, the have-nots, the disenfranchised, have a voice. We need to make sure that we start forming a network so that when something happens in Georgia, it's not just Georgia that's fighting. But just like they did in the early days of the civil rights movement, when there was something going on, first we sent in a scout group to form and organize. And then they came up with a plan. And then they had some people to implement said plan. So that's kind of what my vision is. And I'll talk to you more about it in depth as it comes from this thought in my head to manifestation. So as it comes to fruition, I'm going to share a little bit more with you. But I invite you to check out the website, ABA-PII, ABA-Pii.com. And folks, there's something wrong when we have to have fences, when we have to have armed guards to protect us from Americans. There's something wrong when our intelligence and our law enforcement community fails us miserably. If you can infiltrate, then you can find these people. If you can find all of these high value targets, all of these people like bin Laden that you deem were a threat to democracy and you hunted them down, then there's no reason. You said there was 10,000 people on the mall on January the 6th. I said it was at least 20, 25, more like 30. But let's say for the sake of argument that it was only 10,000 people. There's only been about 250 arrests. And 8 weeks later, we got the conspirators, the Ted Cruzes and the Hawleys and the McCarthys and the Taylor Greens and all of these folks sitting right there. How can we expect them to police themselves when it means that they would have to implicate themselves? That's why there's still a threat that exists. Should Stevie Wonder could see that. So, folks, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I promised I wasn't going to cuss. I promised I wasn't going to go off the rails. So let me just keep it right there. We got too many politicians and not enough public servants. It's up to us to hold them accountable. It's up to us to provide what's called oversight and say that this is the bar. These are our expectations. These are this is what we expect. And anything less means that we have to vigorously pursue somebody to take your place. If you can't do the job as we see fit, then you need to be out of work politician. You need to be thinking about making $15 an hour. Then and only then will some of these people start to resume their role as public servants. So that's all I got for you tonight. As always, I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for your love and your support. Remember, like I always say, don't be so afraid to die that you forget to live for a purpose. Remember, you heard it here first. Now go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, click on the bell. It should let you know when I'm going live. My name is Hank Batiste, alias the Renaissance Man, also known as Rennie. I'm your host tonight. I got something to say. It must be true. The thing about politics is you have to omit the logic. Don't expect it to make sense. I'll see you here next week. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. As always important, love, peace, hair grease. I'm out of here, folks. Okay, there we go. There we go.